It's a bit of a different video today. I saw this come up on my feed. Obviously, Sypher uploaded a video. I mean, look, it's a good title, it's a good thumbnail. He's good at YouTube. You know, talking about the state of Fortnite right now, and I mean, like, obviously Fortnite isn't dying. I think that's all what the sort of title we all go for, me included. We've all done it. You know, that Fortnite's dead and stuff like that. And it isn't dying, but it doesn't feel right at the moment, and it's kind of, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Obviously, games aren't going to feel the same as they did when they first came out, or even a few years. I mean, Fortnite has been out for a long time now, and the Battle Royale of Fortnite obviously has gone on for a long time. Not just talking about Battle Royale, I think something that he goes on to talk about is, you know, the modes they've added and everything they've done. And let's be honest, they've added some brilliant things. You know, for example, it's still Battle Royale, I suppose, but like Fortnite Reload is an amazing mode they added. You know, they looked at other Battle Royales with a similar type of style and what they wanted to do, and they put their sort of spin on it. I think it's great. But I think they have added a lot of stuff, haven't they? It's not just Battle Royale anymore, Fortnite. They're trying to go to this sort of metaverse sort of place. They want to do all these different things. You know, we've got, you know, Fortnite Lego, which is not exactly doing well. They got the band mode, which actually was a lot of fun when it first came out. I haven't played it in a long time. I just feel like there is something missing right now. There's a feeling that's missing, and I don't really know if it's ever going to come back. I mean, look, the modes are great, and obviously they need to keep trying to do things. Epic really needs to keep, you know, making those big swings, because obviously that's why they are so successful. You know, that's why Fortnite is so successful, because of all the sort of big swings they've taken, and there's not been that many misses. Of course, everyone, you know, has those misses, but I think they've done really well, all things considered. You know, the crazy mythics, the map changes, the events we've had, not just back in the old days, but even more recently, we've had some really cool stuff. Like the Godzilla thing that came out last season, you know, that was unreal. It was a really cool thing that, you know, unfortunately we didn't all get to play that much of, which is kind of a point I'll get to, but it's kind of like Battle Royale feels different. I think people are definitely a little bit, I don't know if they're a bit bored of it now, of Battle Royale. I think it has been out for so long. I think, like Sypher says in his video, you know, everything right now is either sort of a play on what we've had before. You know, it's this, but we changed it slightly. It's that thing you love, we've brought it back. You know, there's a lot of that nowadays. I think one of the main problems is you know, and a lot of people have said this, is the bots in the Battle Royale. Obviously, we like to see, you know, all types of players being able to enjoy Fortnite and get wins and things, but I do think it has definitely taken some of that excitement out of the wins. You almost feel like you're just going to get a dub, you know, and that sometimes is great if you've had a bad couple of games, you just want to get a win, but at the same time, you lose those special moments, I suppose, that you had back in the day when you got a win. It was like, oh my god, I got like a 5-kill win, I can't believe it. Whereas now it's like, yeah, 10-0 win, that was rubbish, you know, because a lot of them are AI, and I think it is a problem. I think you see it when you watch content creators, because obviously when, you know, my type of content that I love to watch, especially for Fortnite, was stuff where it would be a group of mates, they would play in a game and they were winning, you know, using a new item, or they were doing some sort of funny strategy and they were getting a dub doing those things. Especially if you watch those big creators now, and when they stream, it's kind of got to a point where, like, now, I mean, and this isn't to shit on the content they make, because they are obviously doing really well. They know what the game is, and I mean, who am I to say what is right or wrong for you to post or what to do? It's nothing like that. I do feel like, you know, if you watch a lot of Fortnite content creators now, the biggest ones, you know, there isn't that sort of content anymore. And maybe that's what people that like Fortnite want to watch. It must be, because that is that's what's doing numbers, isn't it? Let's be honest. Things like the talent shows and stuff like that, which, you know, work goes into that. And again, there's no hate on those creators that do that. I watch those content creators, you know, I might catch their streams. I don't really like that type of content, and that's kind of what I'm trying to say, is that, like, you don't get those types of videos anymore with the big content creators, and I think it has got to do with the bots. You know, they go into games, you watch them streaming. For example, you know, Sypher, Courage, and that, they'll be streaming, and they're almost just walking around, and sometimes they'll find a good player, then it'll be a stream sniper or something, but then it's just bots, you know, and it does take the excitement out of it. You know, those end games where they go, oh, it's one guy left and it's a bot, you know, and that's happened to us, and it's not the most exciting thing ever, and I understand why they're a bit sick of it. And, you know, look, certain creators have gone to other games. Obviously, Marvel Rivals is a game that's just come out. It's massive, and it's obviously, you know, you look at like Ninja, who's gone over to there. I mean, we've played it quite a bit. Not that I'm comparing us to Ninja, but, you know, we've started playing a lot more of it. But I think it's just kind of, it's come at the time when Fortnite is feeling there's that sort of, I don't know, it's just that bored feeling of it. I think Battle Royale, like the Battle Royale right now isn't in a bad place. You know, the weapons are cool, some of the items are great. I think the latest update with all the new exotic weapons and that, they're brilliant. They're great. And as I said, last season we got Godzilla, we got loads of cool things. You know, you look at streamers and a lot of people, there's not a lot of up and coming creators that are playing Fortnite in the way that a lot of these ones that we watch now came up. You know, they came up, as I said, you know, you tune in every 2 or 3 days to watch your 2 or 3 favourite content creators on Fortnite. They used to group up together, they used to get those dubs, they used to get those new items, and it was brilliant. We don't have that anymore, you know, like obviously, I'm going to use my own channel as an example here, obviously not that successful, but, you know, I make, most of the time, I try to make the content that I would want to watch from somebody else. Like, I enjoyed Fortnite content the most when it was, like, for example, Courage and Cypher and Ninja hopping into a game, having a laugh, playing games, getting wins. And that was the best Fortnite content for me. I mean, overall, these past 2 chapters, they brought us some great stuff. Like I've said before, we've had some brilliant things. I think, you know, with Fortnite, I would really like them to probably stop doing the gimmicky modes. You know, like Cypher pointed out in his video, you know, talking about, you know, like they added like a CSGO mode. They added all these different modes, the Lego mode, and they've added all these things. And I just think, I know they're a massive company and, you know, but could they put a little bit more love into their core mode? And, you know, because Fortnite Battle Royale is Fortnite. Obviously, they want it to be more. And, you know, maybe, you know, look, they know what they're doing more than just me. You know what I mean? I'm sure it'll end up being a success, whatever they do, because, you know, these guys know what they're doing. But I just feel like, you know, for example, like the creative, you know, it had so much potential, you know, when they showed us those examples of what was possible with this new software. And now what do we get? Zone Wars and Red versus Blue, you know, box fights. That's basically what is trending all the time. That's what you find. There's some cool horror stuff. We've played a few of them, you know, cheeky link in the description, but overall the potential was there, and it's not really been sort of, I mean, I think there was a thing of Cypher and Courage and Ninja were going to make their own Battle Royale with using that software. We don't know if that's happening or not. Stuff like that though was possible with this, and unfortunately we've kind of just not got that. I think to conclude this weird different video, because again it's very different from what we usually do. Usually I've sworn loads. This is weird. I've not said a single swear word, have I? I don't think so. I do think bots I think bots can be in Fortnite pubs, you know, in the standard Battle Royale mode. I think they've got to change it though. I think they've got to put less in. I think they have to tweak how many modes we have and how many different things we have going, because I do think we're splitting the player base up so much that it's getting to a point where, yeah, they do have to put bots in because they want people to get into games consistently, and they want also people to get wins, to keep spending money. I think you could have bots in, but I think we've got to tweak it. I think we've got to look into it, because I think there was a point in chapter 2 when the bots got really silly, where it did feel like, I don't know if it feels like that to you now, but to me, you get bots at the end game. Sorry, you get like a bot at the end game, maybe a bot team at the end game, but it's mostly at the start of a game, really, depending on where you land. Obviously, for certain content creators, you know, I watch their streams, and I mean, I've seen so many where they just have like pretty much every single player in their lobby is a bot, apart from like maybe 1 or 2 teams, which is, you know, is rubbish. I think if they tweak it and they keep making changes, I'm sure Epic will be listening to Cypher and not me. And there's so many people with a lot of influence that will probably look at that, and I'm sure they'll try to make changes, because I don't know, I feel like we need to make it so that wins in Fortnite feel special again. You know, they need to feel like these crazy experiences where, you know, your heart, I remember back in the day when you were playing Fortnite and heart was racing. Like, I remember, I mean, I play sports, and it like competitive sports, and like your heart is going, like, you know, it's like, feels like life or death, and it kind of felt like that playing Fortnite back in the day. Whereas now it feels like, you know, I'll rock up and we'll get 30 kills, and yeah, some of them sometimes will be a lot of real players, but in reality I'm like, well, you know 10 bots, 20 real players, maybe not even that. It's great, you know, it's easy, and you know, I'll get the next game. There's not that feeling of, if I don't win this game now, I might not win a game for the rest of the night. It's, well, you know, I'm gutted not to win that game, but I'll probably win the next one. Obviously, look, Fortnite's here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. And with this metaverse thing that they're going to do, it's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be, you know, successful for them. I just want Battle Royale to stay the main thing that they focus on. And I'm sure it probably is, but I just think that we've got to tone down the sheer amount of stuff they're adding in without, you know, I don't want them to just keep going, oh, well, we're going to add this, we're going to add ballistic in, we're going to add this mode in, we're going to add this mode in, and split up our player base so much that we have to chuck in bots into every lobby, because it affects the content creators, and so it affects you when you're watching content for a game. Like, for example, Marvel Rivals. I like Marvel Rivals. I don't think I like it as much as everybody else loves that game, but I like that game. When I see content creators loving the game, you know what, you know, even as I'm getting older, I'm like, you know what, I kind of want to hop on and play some Marvel Rivals. Whereas with Fortnite right now, content creators, my choices are stupid fashion shows that are just rubbish, or watching my favourite streamer that now isn't really having a great time playing the game, fighting bots, and there is no magic there. You know, it doesn't make me feel like back in the day when you used to go, damn, I really want to get on that game. You know, when Zero Build came out and loads of content creators, not just Fortnite content creators, were jumping on, that was amazing. Like, and I was like, wow, I want to get on and play this game again. You know, you just need that. You know, I trust Epic to actually be able to come out of this fine. I'm sure they're going to tweak things, they'll change stuff. Because, as I said, chapter 5 was hit or miss. There were some amazing times in that, and there was some bad stuff they did. They made massive swings, and they did hit a lot. They did. They really did. Obviously, they're going to have, you know, times where things don't work out so well. But, you know, with this chapter so far, chapter 6, last season was good. I would say it was all right. You know, the weapons were okay. The events were great. But something was missing. I don't think the map is, I'm not going to divulge too much, but I don't think the map was that great. I think it's okay, and it's okay right now. But wow, they've got to tone it up in the next season. We've got Star Wars coming in the next season, and that, as me as a massive Star Wars fan, I can't wait to see what they do with that. I'm really hoping that it is like the season that makes this chapter start to feel like they're like Epic are really cooking, because I don't think the first 2 seasons have been bad. You know, I hope they adjust the bots. I hope that Epic are really going to take, especially obviously people like Sypher, who have got a lot of sort of power within the community, obviously such a big creator. Hopefully, you know, as we come to the summer, we're going to be on a little bit more. We can, you know, get back to where we were in the last chapter, because that's the thing, you know, last chapter was really good, really good for us as a channel. It tailed off a little bit, and then obviously this chapter's, you know, has not started very well at all. But that's like another thing entirely. Maybe another video. I don't know if this one does well. Just me sitting here talking to you guys. If anybody's still watching. But yeah, to conclude, overall, I think Sypher's right in what he says. I don't think Fortnite is like gonna die. I don't think it's completely gone, and I think it's salvageable from where it is. It's still in a great position. Still got so many players playing it. Epic just need to tweak some stuff, and I'm sure that, you know, whilst we won't go back to the best days of this game, I'm sure we can get to better days. Yeah, I think I'm going to conclude it there. If you enjoyed, you know, make sure to like, sub, and all that stuff. Again, this was a really weird video for me to record, so hopefully you didn't hate it. See you next time.